Hey there, this is another recording, and it is a little bit unusual because I'm doing it not from a place that I consider safe enough. And today I am challenging myself, and I'm doing it from a meeting room on the ground floor in the living complex that I'm currently living. And so in the hall, there are people there, and this is internally, it feels like more socially dangerous or less socially safe environment to record these because I feel pretty vulnerable during these videos. And let me start a 30-minute timer here. And that is actually an interesting observation. Right now, I'm realizing it that I'm structured, or I am in the way I. I'm learning this about myself, that recording this video feels very vulnerable, and I feel pretty exposed without the armor, the usual armor, and things that protect me, or whatever me that I perceive currently. So here I feel like I'm kind of very naked, but not just like my clothes stripped away, more like soul naked. And recording this in like here in the room where I can see other people can like come and go there, it feels quite raw, and I feel maybe gentle, I don't know, soft, and I can easily be hurt in this state. Well, this is at least how I feel right now. And so I thought that it might be a cool opportunity to explore and challenge myself, to explore a new environment in which I record these videos, and also challenge myself in doing that, in recording this video in a new environment that feels unsafe, but it might not be unsafe. So it is an interesting, so I want to explore but part of me wanted to challenge myself so that I could grow and become stronger internally and be able to face these situations where I am recorded, where I'm less socially anxious, or less anxious while I'm recording these videos, because it feels fun to record these. I want to do it, and I want to have fun, and I don't want to exclude my emotional experience or parts of me, and I want to grow, and in the way where I am becoming more myself and more alive, and not ignoring or avoiding the shame or the vulnerability I have in these situations is one of the things that I want to focus on. Okay, so new room, new environment, and so far it feels challenging. So far I can notice different sensations in my body. I can notice the feelings, like the feelings that are similar to what I felt when I was recording videos in Spain, and in my room, but that room had a window, and my neighbor could see me. So maybe it is about also other people that can see me while I'm recording. And 1 second. I'm gonna. Can I mute this? Oh, I was talking about that. Right now, it feels similar to how I felt back then in my room in Spain when I felt that I'm not alone, that I can be seen, and I feel a tension in my throat, building tension in my throat and in my body. And I think that this is a great opportunity to notice that, learn that about myself, and also practice listening to myself, listening to what sensations, what emotions appear in my conscious, in my body, and so on and so forth. But before I continue recording, like talking about some stuff or even breathing or whatever I'm gonna say, I want to remind myself of the things that I will focus on during this recording, and its the view mindset, vulnerability, impartiality, empathy, and wonder. So vulnerability is happening right now. I'm in touch with the things that come up in my body, and I am actually describing them here in front of the camera in this meeting room where some strangers can walk by. Impartiality is not having an agenda for myself here, so it's basically exploring things or not forcing processes, not forcing things a certain way, going with the flow, but being aware of it, so noticing it. And I think empathy is more about noticing the flow, noticing what is currently. It's about attuning to myself and to my environment, so to the people around me, to creatures around me with that have emotional stuff, emotional capabilities. And then wonder is curiosity without looking for an answer, because that would be partial. So it's curiosity with this restriction of being impartial. Right, so this is thing number one that I want to play with at least and see, sometimes return to. But most of the time what I want to do is focus on or to the extent of my abilities currently, capabilities, abilities, I wonder what's the right abilities. Pay attention to my breath, so, and be in touch with my breath, feeling my breath, letting myself to breathe however I want, however feels comfortable, however feels enjoyable and natural. And the second thing that I want to focus my attention on is my body, the things that appear in my body, that I feel in my body. And actually I'd like to be here from my body, so view the camera as if, not as if, but from being inside it, not me being here, somewhere here, outside, but like I'm inside my body. And I'm very intimate, or I can see and feel, I can feel or be touched by whatever feelings and sensations and things appear in my body, and also see and be in touch with what's outside me. So see the camera and the laptop, microphone, my hands, hear my voice, and experience things properly in that sense that I'm within my body, and I feel and perceive the things that are outside my body as things that are outside my body. I would like to play with it, not enforce it. Yeah, I like this, not enforce being in that mode, but coming back to it, seeing how it is, like just exploring it. I like this one. So this is the main one, and also enjoyment. I would like to see what's with enjoyment. But now that I said or mentioned enjoyment, I remembered about the fourth thing that I want to be vulnerable about and just talk about. Let it be, let it be in my conscious, let it in my conscious. In my conscious, okay, it's shame. I am very I contain a lot of shame. I carry, not contain. I carry a lot of shame with me, and it is really easy for me to get into shameful, like to get in, to get into shame. Let's see, to feel ashamed. For example, right now I feel ashamed. You can see, like, I can notice that I'm speaking lower. I'm not using my full voice, and my natural reaction inside my throat is to speak quieter, less loud. And I notice this constraint in my throat right now while I'm speaking that, because in the room adjacent to this one, the wall is pretty thin, and if there is a person there, they can hear me, and my psyche detects that and reacts with quieting me down or suppressing me, like with shame. Like the shame appears, and its main purpose is to regulate, to suppress, to anxiety, and to reduce the energy in my body, in my psyche, and for me to not be noticed, for me to not be laughed at, for not to feel disgrace, to feel not even to feel shame. I feel it's more about me being unnoticed, to keep me low. That's what it does. And I've started gaining access to my shame, and I think the base shame level reduced a little bit, and I now can feel it a little bit, notice how and when it is in my system actively. Maybe even notice, like that's a more precise description, because oftentimes it just regulates me without me noticing that, and I become smaller and more suppressed, quieter, less visible. I like this one, less visible, without even noticing it. So it suppresses, it slows down the processes in my psyche, and this happens automatically. It's just how my nervous system, how my emotional systems, they work this way, and this is what I learned as a kid. And lately I also I started gaining access to compassion to me. Like, I've had I had a pretty rough childhood, and pretty rough childhood, pretty shameful. Like there was a lot of shame there that I learned, or I learned how to regulate myself with it. So shame, it's not a very fun feeling to have as one of the main ones in my system. And the shame that I feel, it's unpleasant. It is unpleasant. So that kid, like me, when I was a kid, I started learning how to, what's that compassion would be for me, for myself. So that's that. So I want to give it enough space, the shame part here. But what I also want to do is to have to do some down regulation breathing, because I'm recording this after I did a workout, and I want to calm down my nervous system for it to start relaxing and restoring. And I learned this technique on the Andrew Huberman's podcast called, there was this guest, Dr. Andy Galpin, and he introduced this down regulation breathing, which basically is I breathe on the count of 4, and I inhale on the count of 4, and I exhale 2 times longer than that, so it's 8. The count of 8. So this is what I will be doing in the next 5 minutes. Let me start also this one and a couple of timers. So see you after 5 minutes. Oh, I'm not gonna be, and I will be recording this. There you go. The timer is up, and I'm gonna remind myself to pay attention to my breath and to pay attention to my body. And what is interesting is that I feel less shame right now, and I think I'm speaking louder right now. And which is weird, which is new, which is interesting for me to notice that sitting here with and doing down regulation breathing for 5 minutes has helped me to lower my shame. And I could speak louder, but I noticed that I'm speaking a little bit louder right now, and that is new. That is interesting. That is what I didn't expect. Cool. This is cool. So now, do I feel calmer? Maybe a little bit. And let's proceed to discussing this architecture preview. And I will still be prioritizing observing, being aware, observing, being with whatever comes in my body, whatever sensations, emotions that appear. I will be more sensitive to noticing shame, probably, and something of that sort. Okay. Okay, Command B. Yeah, I like this one better. So where we stopped, templates, we looked into the source code as far as I remember. And inside resources, there were templates. Nope, not this one. There were templates, there were layouts. Okay, lending looks like a module, name of a module to me, therapist and user as well, and layout does not look like a module to me. Let's see more, let's explore more. Therapist, and what does the therapist, oh, so it inherits the layout therapist. This is interesting that I find this interesting that this in the syntax it's HTML attributes, it's reflected as HTML attributes, the inheritance functionality. So we're inheriting from layout therapist. But what also is weird for me is that we have the layout inside the therapist layout inside the, like, there is a separate folder for layouts instead of for example putting the therapist layout inside the therapist folder here. I am curious to question Cursor about these decisions. But we discussed the layers, and we started going over the domain application logic. Cool, we went through we went through this command that returns cancellation request, and then there was cancel consultation command, which is just a DTO to me. Cancellation reason, I don't know what that is, where this comes from. And then we have a presentation layer, so thin controllers, input validation only. Let's see. Okay, so this is a regular class with some annotations that help with routing, and we have private final cancel consultation. I just remembered about my breath and my body. Cancel consultation use case. One, get user consultations use case. Like this one is weird because I can understand cancellation as a use case, but getting consultations, this was interesting. Okay, so this endpoint accepts post requests ID cancel. Cool. I'm curious how much this aligned with the REST API approach, like REST APIs, but this returns a string, which is a redirect. Cool. We take the ID from the path here, and it's done through using this path variable annotation. Then comes the cancel form. You would imagine this form as a custom class that was built and is a part, or that's a part of our code base, and does not come from any library. So, and it has all the validation annotations we need, and the requirement is here to be the form to be valid. I wonder what happens when the form is not valid. Probably I'd bet it, or I'd guess, if I had to guess, it either raises a certain type, a certain exception type, or certain exception type, or it raises a certain exception type, which then being automatically handled by automatic advice, and then returns something like 422 invalid entity or something like that. So is it 422 HTTP code? No. Unprocessable code, or where is bad request? 404. There is something like entity, too many requests. Entity, do we have entity? Nope, there are no entity codes. This is weird. Unprocessable content. Content and okay. No, this is not a correct. So it's probably 400 bad request. Then authentication principal. This will be here injected automatically for all valid logged in users. And then redirect attributes. Cool. So we new cancel consultation command. Cool. So DTO, just data for it. Command execute. Cool. Add flash attribute. Cool. And then redirect user consultations. Maybe this one is just an example of what we want here. And then goes an infrastructure layer, implementations. I don't know what this is. Infrastructure implements interfaces defined in the main layer. Let me think. Infrastructure implements interfaces defined in the main layer, so that the main layer is decoupled from, say, repositories like Spring repositories. But okay, we have JPA consultation repository. This one comes from the domain. This one is inside the infrastructure. So okay, we'll look at the actual code in a minute. So JPA consultation repository. This is so consultation JPA repository. What is this? So we are delegating here a call to this repository, delegating again, find upcoming by user. And then this calls find by user ID and status active, order by time slot ascending. So maybe, I don't know, I'll need to look into it. Oh, there is consultation JPA repository, extends JPA repository, consultation will be the entity, and long is our primary key. So interesting find, there is that. Okay, and we need this repository to use JPA stuff. Oh, to just, I'm curious, why do we, because this one implements consultation repository to decouple our interface like this from the JPA API, repository API. Probably this is the main reason for doing that. Security architecture, authentication flow, browser, controller, auth service, filter chain, repository token check. Okay, security contexts, therapist, auto login, staff, billing, webhook, signature, main, anonymous, allowed. Roles, staff super user, staff user, role psychologist. It's a separate role, and it's a separate role. So there is this relationships only between super user and staff user. And I think we could get away here with just having like role staff user, but I wanted to have these is not, I think, necessary at the current, or was at the stage of the process of the project. Database schema design, naming conventions. Cool, I like this one. Snake case singular. Column names, snake case, foreign keys, table, and then ID. Indexes, index, table, column, or a couple of columns probably, or here comes the list of the columns separated by an underscore. Common patterns, audit columns on most tables, created add timestamp, not null, default, current timestamp, cool. State machine pattern, integer, not null, default, soft delete, where applicable. I do not like soft deletes, actually, because we need to then handle them, and during selects there are more rows in the database, and which is not good. It slows down the performance. It depends eventually on the requirements, on the business requirements, business logic, and the common sense. So that's that. And I will wrap it up for today, and I will see you in future recordings, most likely from this room. But what I wanted to notice before I end this recording is that I'm sitting here in this room. Nobody have shamed me, or nobody has started pointing at me and laughing. Nobody, so nothing actually physically happened outside. From the outside, I had the space to myself, pretty quiet. There was some movement that I noticed in the hall, but nobody tried or have tried breaking in and attacking emotionally, physically, whatever. Also, I want to notice that I'm being recorded, and I have been recorded for the whole time. Also, I want to notice that I am noticing, and my body is noticing the environment, which is good, which looks actually like good news, because it responds to it in a way which is most likely is not accurate to the current situation, but it responds to it, and attunement to is a separate matter that is happening while I'm observing, actually, while I'm looking around, while I'm doing this work. So and I want to thank my friends, thank my family, and joke around. I want to notice my breath, to notice my body, to let whatever feelings and sensations want to be and appear and move in my body, to let them do that, to let them be in my body, to let them shift, to let them move, to let them migrate. And I want to let myself be touched by them, feel these, actually feel these. And also, what I want to do is, I want to say this from the inside, from being inside my body. And I did a cool and brave thing today. That is so cool. I wonder where I'll be in 2 years from now. I'm gonna be running naked in the woods. Crazy. But I doubt that. We'll see. Oh, and I see a couple of girls that came to close and let me talk a little bit from this very vulnerable place where I was seen by them, and they looked at this room like there are certain curtains or something like that, but I want to savor it savor being looked at. Ooh, and I can notice tension in my upper belly. That signifies danger, 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 danger. I wonder how dangerous it is right now. It certainly was back then. But my body responds to it so fast. And there was another dude that came and looked at, like, here, and I also noticed that how fast my body responded to it. This is so cool, like real time, like just like that. And this is, I'm sensitive, turns out, that I respond to that. There are certain things that block me, or like have just learned things that happen here, that happen, that lead me to dissociation, or to not noticing, to avoiding feeling all this. I totally get that. I'm learning, or I'm like exploring how, like, what compassion, how it's different with compassion, like to see all this. But I'm pretty happy to notice how sensitive I am, that I have this sensitivity, that my body responds, that my psyche responds, that those systems that should respond, like that respond real time, they are responding real time, that they are working, like they work. It's more a matter of connecting those ones to my conscious experience, and to updating their data, let's say, the way they okay, right now it's different from back then, and very different. And this shame response, oh, this is how it was for me 25 years ago, or 30 years ago, or 20 years ago. Oh, this is how it was. Like, this is what was the environment. This is how I saw it. This is what it was for me. Oh, yeah, I now know myself better. Oh my God, yeah, wow. This is very cool. This is very cool. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up and for today, and I will see you later.